A few years ago, I dated a girl from my home country. Nowadays, when I look back on the relationship, I realize how much she really treated me like dirt, but at the time I couldn't see it as I was so in love with her. I paid for everything, including her university fees, as she didn't work. While she was at uni, she had a tutor, and immediately alarm bells and red flags aplenty. They'd flirt constantly on her social media. She followed him on any platform she could and seemed infatuated. I voiced my concerns a few times, and every time she'd either get angry at me or laugh in my face. Couple years later, took her on holiday, and the entire time we were there she barely spoke to me, and instead spent all her time on her phone getting increasingly agitated, which at the end of our time away she exploded and took out her anger on me for whatever reason. It was at this point I started to accept that maybe this wasn't meant to be, but stayed for another year. One day when I was using my laptop and noticed bookmarks in my browser which weren't mine. Turned out she'd used my laptop to check email, and had somehow accidentally synced her logins over from her tablet. I ignored it till a few months later, her and her AP were flirting and reminiscing on FB about very specific things that had occurred between them. I figured I've nothing to lose, so I went home and had a look. Turns out that she'd been cheating. From day one, and there were multiple guys. I counted at least 20 over the 5 years we were together. Also found out she was just using me for money. I confronted her and she laughed and told me that how funny it was using me, and that she loves getting caught. Of course, we broke up and went our separate ways. I never actually deleted her number, so due to WhatsApp, I was able to the number of failed relationships she ran through by way of her status updates and woe is me profile pics. Couple years ago, she reached out, but I ignored her text messages. I'd already forgiven her for my own sake. Holding on to the animosity did nothing for me, especially when she showed zero remorse. So, a year and a half, I replied asking what she wanted. She proceeded to tell me how sorry she was and that she messed up and asked for forgiveness, and how she wished we were still together. Told her I forgave her, but it is what it is. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, it was my birthday. Now at this point, she just got dumped by her latest BF. She's now in her early 30s, overweight, lives in her father's basement, works a dead-end job, and really has nothing good going on, it seems. She calls me up and wishes me a happy birthday. I tell her thanks, and she then has the nerve to ask me when am I taking her out on a date. I just burst out laughing. Turns out she really thinks I'm going to come rescue her and we can have some wonderful life together. Nah, I'll pass.